JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. October 10th, 2024, about 3:29 here. I'm just recording this, so I do apologize. I had to restart it. But take a look at the markets. S&P down about a third of a percent. The VIX is slightly in the green, up 1% on the heels of the CPI data this morning, which came in, I guess you would say, a tad hotter than expected. You have the estimates for a rate cut now. 81% or so is for a 0.25% rate cut, and the odds for no rate cut have actually ticked down. So I think they were near 20% coming into today. Now they're down like 17%. So anyway, just really quick, I don't have much time. Just going to talk about the market, some updates on some trades and go from there. But obviously this week, not as lucrative as last week. It was a monster with Baidu, AMD. There were a couple others, Win, and some AMDs. And then this week, I guess you take everything with a grain of salt, or try and find a silver lining. But I haven't done many trades this week, which is good. But it's good when they don't go your right direction, or even if they do, limit your risk, right? You can only lose what you put into a trade, and that's 50% of the reason why I trade options. So anyway, because your risk is defined right off the bat. So anyway, take a look at the SPY. Very tight range today, almost half the range of what we traded yesterday. High of 577.58 or so, low of just barely tapped into the 574s in the morning. Did we hit 570? No, 574 change. We just hit it before as well. And the VIX is still up nearly 1%. So we'll have to see what happens here with tomorrow with earnings season, maybe some more chop. And then, I always say blue skies beget blue skies. So when we have these breakouts into all-time highs, typically there's less supply up there, right? Less shares to sell as we churn through sellers. And then maybe we can hit new highs on the SPY heading into the weekend, which would be nice. But it's been, premium crush day here today. So tried to get the green, came back into the red, and now we've just been chopping around. So just some individual names. At first, of course, I'll talk about, do I have AMD? Yeah, AMD, sell the news, right? That's the mantra here. Always you hear that as, when things selling off and people say, why, great news, why is it selling off? Oh, they're selling the news. There were some analysts this morning saying sell the news, and it's always in the back of your head when you have some kind of event like this that's been hyped and the stock has rallied into the news. Was it up 1, 2, 3, 4, up 5 days outside of yesterday? I guess good thing it came down to, not good thing, but it came down to its 200-day moving average, which is pretty much trading at right now. It's 162 and change. This could be one of those sell-offs that tomorrow then we have reversal in the gap higher and a move higher. But I'm not going to try and chase it. I already locked most of my strikes in, thankfully. Unfortunately, the last little bit are going to take it on the chin pending any crazy reversal tomorrow. But it could be one of those names that just you wake up tomorrow, it's gapping, there's upgrades, and then it's back into the 170. So I'm not going to rule that out, but also I'm not going to try and trade it. So I'll just wait for tomorrow for the dust to settle. But a little frustrating there on AMD. And I don't know if some of it's, maybe it's later than expected in regards to when their chips are going to be released. I think it's back half 2025. I started listening, and then the stock was moving down, and after a while I turned it off. But I'll have to do more digging after the close today and kind of see what's going on. All right, so that's AMD. And obviously after the close today, 7 o'clock Pacific time is Tesla Robotaxi. It's way past my bedtime. That means 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll be watching the Yankees, although I'm not a Yankee fan. But that should be interesting, and I'll watch the pre-record, after it's recorded, I'll watch it on YouTube or whatever tomorrow morning before the open. I'm sure that's going to be interesting. All right, so that's AMD. So now WW, and I was saying it this morning, and maybe I was saying it some of it yesterday. I really kind of took it off my radar after Simi stepped down. I don't know if she was stepped down. It seemed like a mutual agreement to leave the company, or whether she was going to get fired. And typically, when you see these leaders of a company get fired, it's not like the company goes and fires them unless there's some crazy, that maybe a legality issue where they did something, that fraud or what have you. Typically, when either they want to let them go, they kind of let them save face, and maybe that's what happened. The board was probably going to terminate her, possibly, and they came to a mutual agreement to leave. So I'm hoping that's what happened. I think that's what happened. It kind of took away a lot of my bull case, because I think she's very smart, and she has a history of creating companies that have a serious value. And Weight Watchers was stuck in the past, and here's a leader who's already taken a tech and an idea and grew it into millions of dollars and was sold. So Anyway, so then you see this. I saw the news at the start of the week that they were going to get into the compounded drug GLP-1 side with semaglutide, however you pronounce it. But there was an article in Barron's over the weekend, and it was almost like I shook that off as well, because in Barron's, I mean, it kind of explains FDA removed the supply, with the shortage on LLY's drug, right? But they still haven't done it on NVO. And when you have a shortage, these companies are allowed to sell the compounded solution. And typically, when the shortage goes away, they have 6 months to sell, and then they can't sell it anymore. But Weight Watchers, and if you read, they actually, I mean, they said they did 3 million shops of supply. They made calls, and only 4% of the times they made the calls, the drug was available. So 4% of 3 million, was that 120,000? That's some of it. I guess there's a bull case there. I guess if they're able to capture that, and even if it's a short term 6 month, 8 month boost of growth revenue, it's probably they're going to probably able to get the FDA to kind of say, hey, these folks are on the drug for 6 months. We can't just pull it away. Insurance is not covering them. This is the solution for them, and maybe they're going to be able to bypass it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in the back of my head. And then you watch the stock, and I've I've traded WW for the last couple of years, and this is like the most well bid it's been. And it's not like it's crazy volatile right now. It seems like the stock is just holding course, right? It was at 180, and then just slowly melts to 190, then over $2, and then it hit 218, and it's sitting here at 208. And it's like, if there was a chance for the sellers to come in and push this back down, the chance they've had it, and now it seems like there's someone just like a magical hand just holding it up and supporting it, which to me I think bodes well for more upside. So I went and locked some more of my January strikes in for nice profits. I already locked some in yesterday for almost 200%, today for almost 300%. And then I went and I was looking, and I put on the watch list this morning. I was talking about, I don't want to be in a position where I get the April strikes for next year, and then something happens or whatever, and the stock goes down to $1, and I'll be staring at those calls for the next 6 months. It's kind of frustrating, right? Similar. I mean, it was frustrating staring at them since August, but uh, so I went and got January 26s, and the thought process there is the premiums are high already. So even if it does sell off, it may hold on to more premiums. And then also you get the time factor. So in lieu of trying to get the April 25s, I went and got the January 26s. So it gives you a heck of a lot more time for, if there's a turnaround, for that to materialize, number one, and number two, the premiums to hold up. And you look at it, it's a $2 stock, and you would think, why would someone buy options on a $2 stock? But to me, it's the leverage, right? So I mean, you could let's say you put 10 grand into Weight Watchers, right? So your risk is 10 grand on a company that could be bankrupt, lots of debt. So if it goes to 10, $10, you have a five bagger, so you make 50 grand. But if you buy options and you buy, the right now I still have some January $2 calls at 22.50. 22 cents and a half, because I had I got some at 15 and some at 30. If it goes up to $10 in the next couple of weeks, so you're talking $8 at 22 cents, right? So you start doing, it's a 40 bagger. And I'm not saying, I mean, it's not on 10 grand. I mean, yeah, it's not on 10 grand, but there's just it's lucrative, right? And then a similar situation with getting the $5 strikes for January. It goes to $10 in a couple of weeks. Those are going to be like $7, $8 at least. So at least 10 bags. So that's kind of the thought process there, and why I trade options. So you look at a stock like WW, it's not like it's either going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 in the coming weeks and months, or it's going to go back down to $1 and below. I think the scenario right now is the possibility it might go much higher, and has that short interest. It seems like, a lot of folks are involved. Maybe, it becomes that meme stock, So, all right, I'm running out of time here, so I don't want to rant too much about WW, but maybe I'll try and do more rants tomorrow. Unfortunately, I did my rants at WW and I wrote a nice piece back last year when it was substantially higher, and I thought it was going substantially higher. So I think the cards are still, pieces are still in place, and the ingredients still in place for a big run. Maybe this is it, right? Never, I keep saying it, not wrong, just early. All right, so that's WW. Roku tight. If you take a look, tight Bollinger Bands, similar to, I was talking about Universal Display the last 2 days, but look how tight these are. And tight Bollinger Bands typically precede another monster, a major breakout, right? Usually precedes a big move to the upside, 10-15% or so. We'll see what happens here. It's very tight range as well, similar to what happened to the SPY today. Very tight trading range. Frustrating to see it down 2 days in a row, but it's still holding here. And again, another positive analyst note this morning: JP Morgan overweight, $92 price target from 90, and then we have Netflix earnings, so maybe there's going to be a ramp into next week. That's Roku. Some other frustrated like Clear Secure. I was watching that this morning, gapping in the morning, and then that's just been chopping around in the 33. So I'll hold off on those. Win and Baidu look great this morning. I mean, Baidu's still in the green. It was all the way up at 105 and change a couple hours ago, and then it just gave those gains back as the market found some pressure. Still like Win here, but I'm not gonna try and force the trade here. So maybe tomorrow I'll look to get some strikes on Win, or I'll just be patient, maybe into next week. Um, yeah, and Redfin just disappointing as well. Broke under $10. I mean, key area, So got only down 969. It's got a shot here to get back over $10. So if it gets back over 10, the daily chart still looks great. So at some point, I'll look to get some more strikes there. And then some of these GLP-1 names, I mean, Turn's just getting destroyed again, another 5% to the downside. So disappointing. At some point, that's going to find a floor. VKTX, I mean, it looked so great yesterday morning after that phase one, that data came out for a drug, which I wasn't even aware of. You have more analysts reiterating their price targets, $90 price target, outperform rating, and then the stock just sells off. It's just tough one. I was posting in the chat room yesterday when I found the search feature in the chat room. I didn't know you could refine some of that, some of the search features. I can find some of my trades on VKTX. I mean, I can go into my, to the brokerage and do a search, but it's just comical to see some of the stuff that I used to have on VKTX, and it used to drive me nuts when it was $6, $8, $10, and they would go back down to $6. And this is before, all the others. I was trading more on its NASH drug. So, Intercept Pharmaceuticals, Madrigal, MDGL. That was more of why I was trading VKTX before the GLP-1 stuff really started going bonkers. Rants for other days, folks. Let's hopefully get a little bounce here into the close. And yeah, let's have a great afternoon. I'll be back on audio tomorrow. Rock and roll.